Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Season 10, Episode 22, overall 517 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with a great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac vehicles as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme, aka CDP, sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969, and yours truly has been a customer of Barry Cullen Chevrolet for the last 25 years. And Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is looking for more sponsors, businesses to come aboard as sponsorships. If you're interested, you can email me at cpalme19@gmail.com if you'd like your business to be advertised on Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. I hope everyone's doing well on this Friday, March 28th, 2025. Baseball is back. Major League Baseball returned yesterday. Both the Blue Jays and the Tigers lost their opening games, and they're both in action again today. The Jays and Orioles tonight at 7:07, and Tigers in LA, I believe, at 10 o'clock East Coast time at Dodger Stadium. And the Buffalo Bisons, the top farm team of the Toronto Blue Jays, open up today at 2:05. First pitch against the Rochester Red Wings at Salin Field as well. I hope everyone is doing well today on this Friday, March 28th, 2025. And my guest today, this is her first appearance on our show, and I met her on March 6th on a Zoom call for the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame Women in Baseball discussion on Zoom. And her name is Lindsay Earle. She is a Care of Collections and Public Engagement Supervisor at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in St. Mary's, Ontario. Good afternoon, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for coming on. And this is an exciting time of the year with the return of baseball.
Yes, it absolutely is. It finally feels like it might be spring now that the baseball season has kicked off.
We are supposed to get some freezing rain in Southern Ontario this weekend, but it beats 30 centimeters of snow that Calgary is going to be getting.
Yeah. I received a photo from my brother who's in Edmonton, and it is fully snow covered there. So I'll take this weather instead.
I miss having minor league baseball teams in Calgary and Edmonton, and I'm hoping one day we'll see more AAA teams down here in Canada as well, because it's such a big part of Major League Baseball. And I wanted to ask you this too, Lindsay. Did you and Scott, by any chance yesterday, get to go down to the Rogers Center for the home opener?
We did. Yeah, we were there along with our board members. It's becoming a tradition to meet in the city and be there for opening day. Yesterday was not the greatest game, unfortunately. Tough loss for the Blue Jays. However, and you may know this, Chris, already, a couple of Canadians in the game yesterday, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., of course, but then also Tyler O'Neill was with the Orioles yesterday, and he extended his hit streak yesterday. So last year on opening day set a record of hitting a home run 5 years in a row on opening day. And yesterday he did it again.
Wow.
Further demoralizing the Blue Jays fans with a 3-run home run in the third, but extended his opening day hit streak to 6. So that's the light at the end of the tunnel yesterday, was a Canadian doing something pretty incredible.
Unfortunately, yesterday I missed watching the game because I had other commitments. But what was the experience like at the Rogers Center and with all the renovations and latest upgrades to the 328 in right field?
Yeah, we were in the WestJet flight deck, but we could see those renovations in right field. Haven't been in yet, unfortunately, but it looked pretty impressive. We did actually contribute some artifacts to a display that they have in one of their new lounges in the 100 level behind home plate. And so that we have about 10 artifacts that are on display there right now. And it looks really impressive. It looks really good. So the renovations looked amazing. There was quite a light show to start things off yesterday. And then they unroll a huge Canadian flag. So very proud to be a Canadian baseball fan in that moment.
One thing, Lindsay, I've been to a number of parks in the States and Canada. I've been to 13. And the Rogers Center, I actually haven't been there since 2019, so I need to get down there to see all the changes. But I would like to see a little more history of the Blue Jays past. Like when you go to Comerica Park or these other ballparks, you see statues and Hall of Fame exhibits. And that's what I'd like to see, a little more of the Blue Jays history, because this is their 47th year in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, they are definitely working on that. We've actually been working with a couple of employees there who are starting I'm in our collections room here, and they are starting kind of a small collections room of their own. And I've been kind of consulting on that to help them just get the right materials and procedures for actually taking care of their artifacts. They're definitely aware that cruising in on 50 years is no small thing. So they are working to preserve that history more and more with each season.
I went to my first Major League Baseball game before I became a Tigers fan on I think it was May 5th, 78, as a 6-year-old. My late dad took me to Exhibition Stadium on Laura
Wow.
Secord baseball night. I wish I'd kept the baseball, but back in the 70s and 80s when he had these cool giveaways, you didn't think to put them away for the future, and I really wish I had kept it. But my first Major League Baseball game was in Toronto, and I became a baseball fan because of the Blue Jays franchise being founded in the late 70s, mid 60s, or the mid 70s, 76, I believe.
77, yeah.
Yeah,
Did you say it was Laura Secord night?
yeah, it was Laura Secord baseball night, and there
Was it
are
a
some.
chocolate baseball?
No, it was a regular baseball, and it's hard to believe there are some of them on eBay. There are some of them that are online still.
Yeah, I think we have a Laura Secord baseball. We have a couple of Honda ones as well, like from different giveaway nights. I think my favorite kind of very niche sponsored item that we have is we have a Chiquita baseball bat that was done for the Blue Jays,
Yeah.
as in like Chiquita bananas. And
Yes,
so
I remember that.
it's like that blue and yellow logo coloring on the baseball bat.
I remember the little mini bat days they had at Exhibition Stadium, Catelli bat days, and Dominion batting helmet days as well.
Cool. That's a very cool giveaway.
Absolutely. Yes, and I do have a 78 Laura Secord Blue Jays schedule, so maybe I'll bring it up to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame to show it to you guys.
I'd love to see that.
So you're a native of Orillia, Ontario. How did you become a Blue Jays fan and get into the game of baseball?
Yeah, baseball has always been around when I was growing up. So I was born into it. I'm a December 92 baby. So I missed the Blue Jays' first World Series win by mere months, but I was around for the second one. So no, it was just always part of my life. Big sports family that I come from. I started playing softball when I was in grade 6. I have 2 extremely athletic younger brothers who don't have to work hard to be good at sports. And that's not been my experience. But softball actually came really naturally. And so loving playing a bat and ball sport, became a big Blue Jays fan. growing up, I was a big Aaron Hill fan. That was kind of the first hero in baseball that I can remember was Aaron Hill. And then my youngest brother is actually a really talented pitcher. He's pitching at a school in Boston right now. So him and I were kind of the baseball loving side of the family, and hockey was the other side of the family. So yeah, just always been a part of my life. And history also has always been a part of my life. And being now in a position where I get to combine both of those things is just such a dream come true.
And out of all the sports, I think baseball has the greatest history behind it.
I agree. We talk a lot about this with people who come visit the museum, about how you can really tell the state of the world from like reading up on baseball or watching baseball, and vice versa. There are so many moments in history that are reflected in the game, and so many significant cultural moments in the game as well. It's really easy to be a baseball fan as a history person, I think.
Lindsay, how much I wanted to talk about baseball talent overall in Canada, but also being a part of that Zoom show on March 6th with women in baseball from Canada. As a woman, how much has the game of baseball changed for women over the last decade or so?
Yeah, it's changed substantially. I, growing up, didn't know that there was baseball out there for women. Obviously, you could join a boys team growing up, but I think the main thing is there's so much more awareness now that there are women who are playing baseball and dominating. Inducting Ashley Stevenson last year and Amanda Asay this year, we are trying to reflect that more and more, that there are so many incredible women who are in the game. And that was what the event on March 6th was about, was celebrating International Women's Day and reflecting the various roles that women, and in that case, all Canadian women, are playing in the sport, whether like Claudette Scrafford, they are working as to preserve the history at Cooperstown. Claudette's kind of my personal hero on that front. Or people working in the front office like Ellen Harrigan, making a difference that way. I mean, she was the GM of the St. Catharines Blue Jays at one point in time. And then, of course, those on the field like Ashley and Ali Schroeder as well as one of the players. So it's just, the game is growing and there are amazing people in the game. Lisa Turbot was the umpire who was on with us, and I think she really exemplified how the game has grown. She has so many firsts under her belt as like first female umpire at all the levels for an umpire in international play. I mean, we talk about the All-American Girls Baseball League here at the Hall of Fame. 10% of that league was Canadians. So that was kind of where it started. And then momentum was lost after about 10 years as a league. But now we understand that there's a new league that's being founded and kind of being called the new A League of Their Own. So we're extremely excited to see where that goes and how that plays out. But the first Baseball Canada women's team was in 2004. So I think women's baseball has been active a lot longer than certainly I understood before coming here. And I think that's probably pretty widely true. So the game's just continuing to grow and grow. There was a wonderful documentary that was released recently, and there's a book as well called See Her, Be Her. And it reflects the idea that, and Ashley Stevenson brought it up on March 6th as well, that if we show young women that there is an opportunity to play baseball and we show them heroes that they can have, then they will understand that there are more opportunities out there.
Do you see this new league being successful? And obviously, thoughts on the Professional Women's Hockey League, I think, which is doing really well. The WNBA, which is now going to be in Toronto, I believe, next year, playing where the Marlies play at the Coca-Cola Coliseum. Do you feel it's time for a women's professional baseball league? And do you see, once this league gets up and running, do you see teams in Canada too?
I certainly hope so. No, I instantly thought of the women's hockey as well, and or basketball rather. I think those are proof of concept right there, that women are incredible athletes. They can put on a show and draw fans, and that's being proven again and again. So I think my hope is that the baseball does well also, and it's a success, and hopefully there's a team close by that I can go and watch and cheer for pretty soon.
Absolutely, Lindsay. And are you able to tell us a little bit about your role with the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in beautiful St. Mary's, Ontario? And how did that come about with Scott Crawford?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I have a multifaceted job here, as does Scott. We are the two full-time employees here. Scott, you've mentioned, is the executive director of the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. He's been here for 25 years. I started 24 years to the day after he did. So I've got some catching up to do. But no, so kind of the three main facets of my job are collections care, public programming, and exhibits. So we are actually turning over our displays right now. So if you haven't been to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum before, we have a museum that is fairly static, that tells the history of the game and highlights the World Series, highlights key moments and players, and has our plaque gallery as well. So we don't turn those exhibits over too frequently because they are so key to telling the story that we tell here. But we do have some displays that we turn over every year. So part of my job is to change those up. We have some new displays that people will be able to come and see fairly soon. We just received a donation of a World Series locker. It was in the locker room during 92 and 93. And so we've installed some World Series era artifacts in that locker so that you can see some of those items on display. One of the ones that I'm really excited that we have out now is Paul Molitor's World Series MVP trophy is now on display. We have a new bobblehead display that just went out that looks amazing. We highlight current Canadians in some of our displays. A lot of the objects that we have in-house, we have because teams and players are good enough to send them our way when key moments happen in the game. So, and that's actually what Scott is so exceptional at, is preserving the history as it's happening. In terms of programming, I get to run things like that Women in History event, Canadian Women in Baseball panel that we did, and that's on our YouTube channel also. And so events like that where we get to bring baseball to people and bring that baseball history to people, and that's such a rewarding part of what I do. And then behind me, this is the collections room. You're seeing a portion of it here. So this is honestly the bulk of what I do, is caring for the objects that we have in the collection, making sure that they are stored properly, they are cared for. Everything that goes with that is a massive full-time job. You're seeing some bases behind me there. Bases used to fit really well on these shelves, and then they grew a couple of years ago, and now they don't fit quite as well. But yeah, so that's what I do in my role. And then anything else besides that, helping out with induction weekend, social media, all that kind of good stuff.
When Scott was on my show last time, I forgot to ask him this question. So I'm going to put you on the spot here, Lindsay. Does anyone know what happened to the original baseball from the Blue Jays' first pitch in '77 at Exhibition Stadium? Because that would be something to see at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, the first baseball ever used in Blue Jays history.
That I don't know. We definitely have some objects from that first game, but I don't believe that baseball is one of them, and it would be exceptional to have that on display and in-house. One of my favorite things that, and we catalog items, we rehouse them, and so we come across things daily, and things that I just get so excited to have my gloved hands on. We had a newspaper article that just has this exceptional photo of one of the players with bats strapped to his feet, using them like snowshoes to get across a very snowy Exhibition Stadium field on April 7th, 1977. So that anniversary is coming up fast.
By the way, last summer, I do some media work for the Argonauts at BMO Field. And before I go to BMO Field, I walk across where BMO Field parking lot is, and all the bases are there from Exhibition Stadium. They didn't put the pitching mound, but I figured out where it would be, and I actually got to run the bases. Obviously, I didn't do it when the Blue Jays were there, but I finally got to run the bases at the old site of the stadium. And I would like to see more historical monuments there at that stadium, because the Blue Jays and the Argonauts and the history of concerts and sports in that stadium for many years.
Agreed. I've seen those as well, kind of mounted in the parking lot there. The other cool one is pretty close if you have a boat, is the one out on Hanlon, or now Toronto Island, but where Hanlon's Point Stadium was.
Babe Ruth's first home run.
You got it. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a cool marker as well. It's not too far, but there is water in between.
And also, too, the old Maple Leaf Stadium, which was before my time and your time. I guess it was located near the Tip Top Taylor's building, which is still standing there as well. So I'm a history guy, too. I love reading about and learning about the history of baseball and the old stadiums and that.
Agreed. We do have some seats on display in the museum from Maple Leaf Stadium. They're white with green sides and green numbers painted on them. That I think would have been a beautiful, beautiful old stadium.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. How many artifacts do you currently have? And there's somebody watching our show live stream or later on audio, and they're interested in donating an artifact or something historical to the game of baseball in Canada. How would they go about approaching you guys?
Yeah. So we currently have about 15,000 objects.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we have an addition. So Chris, you know this. We have the Canadian Baseball Research Center here run by Andrew North. We have the library, which he has curated for us. And we have an additional about 10,000 publications just dedicated to the library, and that includes magazines, programs, things like that. We have about 5% of our collection on display currently. And talking about exhibits earlier, we try and rotate objects out onto display as frequently as possible, so that everyone can see them. If somebody is interested in donating, and as I said, that's how we get everything that we have is through donations from people with collections like your own, and baseball players and teams and whatnot. So there is a statement on our website that you can look up that has the more specific breakdown of instructions on how to do that. We do have to be a bit careful about not taking in like duplicate items. So what we ask is that you let us know what you have, and then we can compare it to what we currently have and see if that's something that is relevant to Canadian baseball history, and if that can fill a gap for us within the collection. And then we just arrange how to get it, and we have paperwork beyond that, but all those instructions are laid out on our website. And we're really grateful for the amazing donors that make this all possible.
Out of all the wonderful artifacts that are at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, which one, in your opinion, is the most unique? And also, what are some of the challenges of storing all this stuff in your facility, which is limited in size? Obviously, it's growing, but is there any plans on expanding the Hall of Fame in the future as well?
So, most unique artifact that we have, I think our most jaw-dropping artifact that we have is we have the home plate from Joe Carter's home run in 1993. That's currently on display. And I mean, that's what made it official. When Tom Cheek said, "Touch 'em all, Joe," that was the last one he had to touch to make that World Series win official. So on display, we have the home plate and his batting helmet that he was wearing at the time. One of my favorite objects that we actually just got last year was Paul Godfrey was one of our inductees last year, and he donated the ceremonial groundbreaking shovel that they used when they built now Rogers Center, Sky Dome then. And I mean, at the time, it was the first stadium with a retractable roof in Major League Baseball. And he had that shovel from that official ceremony to begin all that. So that's actually been on display this past summer. And we just have objects from that are in use on the diamond and things that make the game possible. Behind me, there's a phone to the bullpen. So just things like that that are from all aspects of the game. Okay, second part of your question, how do we store these things?
Yes,
Challenges
or
with
do you, yeah, challenges like maybe room, like space.
Yeah. No, I mean, artifact storage is complicated. It's all about just ensuring that these things are preserved for the future. And so things like a shovel are a bit strange to store because they're an odd shape, or large trophies, things like that. They take up a lot of space. Some of the hardest objects to deal with are the really delicate ones. One thing that we have is a trophy which was won by the London Tecumsehs back in the 1870s. And the London Tecumsehs played at Tecumseh Stadium, which is now Labatt Memorial Park, the oldest continuously used ballpark anywhere in the world. So we have a trophy. Doesn't look like a trophy. It is a ceramic jug, but it is the trophy that they won. And I mean, that jug is so padded and wrapped just because it has been, I mean, it was broken and repaired 100 years before we ever received it. But it is really delicate. So things like that are a challenge in their own way. No plans to expand the museum currently. We are limited in our footprint, but the most recent addition was done in 2018. We still call it the new museum, even though now we're, oh gosh, math, 7 years old.
7 years, yes.
So, and then we had COVID in between. So this is still kind of the new museum. There's still people that haven't been to see the new part. So yeah, no immediate plans to expand.
For those people, Lindsay, that have never been to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame or to St. Mary's, Ontario, why should they come out there, and what makes it so special?
Yeah, hard question because we have limited time here. So St. Mary's itself is beautiful. It's a beautiful community, and a very picturesque downtown, with water running all around it, surrounded by rivers. So St. Mary's itself is worth a visit, but then you get the bonus of the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum being here as well. We're on a 32-acre property, which has walking trails and 4 baseball diamonds to explore, And then the museum itself, if you're a baseball fan and you've grown up watching the Jays or the Expos or some of the minor league teams that you mentioned, maybe you're a Vancouver Canadians fan or a Buffalo Bisons fan, we have objects from that history, and we try to preserve that history and tell that story. Baseball in Canada is an amazing thing, and we've had such all-stars come out of this country. Fergie Jenkins being the first Canadian ever inducted into Cooperstown, Larry Walker the second. And then, I mean, current stars of the game as well, like your Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s, Cade Smith coming out of BC last year, just unbelievable. So we try to tell those stories and share the objects from the history of baseball in Canada. Baseball, I mean, we talk about kind of our foundation story being the Beachville game back in 1838. So baseball has existed in Canada for an exceedingly long time. And as you say, the history of the sport is so important, I think, to the history, to the greater history of our country as well. So we have displays on the All-American girls. Jackie Robinson got his start in Montreal in the minor leagues, so we get to talk about him as well. And just such important figures. So if you love baseball, even if you just like history, I think you'll enjoy the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame.
Lindsay, maybe we'll have a part 2 with you coming back on in the future, because I know we're short for time, but I want to say thank you so much for doing this today. And I'm going to wrap this up with, what are some of your latest happenings at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame and some of your upcoming events in the class of 2025, if you'd like to promote it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is our biggest one coming up. We open for the summer on May 1st, and June 7th is induction this year. In case you haven't heard the big news, we have an exceptional class of 6 individuals. Amanda Acey, I mentioned earlier, she was a Baseball Canada Women's National Team member. Jerry Snyder was instrumental in bringing the Expos to Montreal. Arlene Noga, she was an All-American girl, so one of that 10% that were Canadian. Greg Hamilton is the head of Baseball Canada and has influenced the growth of the game on a national level. And I think there are a lot of people playing the game today who wouldn't necessarily be where they are without his influence. Eric Bedard, one of the most talented pitchers to ever come out of Canada. And then, of course, Jose Bautista. Pretty excited to have a lot of those individuals here this summer with us. So, I mean, yeah, that's the big stuff that we are working towards, that we have coming up. Associated with induction, we do have the opening pitch as well, which takes place on the Thursday before induction. And that's where we all get to go down to Toronto, and your ticket covers food and beverage more at Left Field Brewery this year. And our inductees will be there so that you can kind of have some time in that crowd with, those inductees nearby and some other VIPs. So looking forward to that, and just excited to enjoy some more baseball.
And if there's anyone out there, including myself, that would like to volunteer, just get in touch with you and Scott then.
Yep, absolutely. There's if you visit our website, there is a tab about how to get involved in various capacities.
Okay. And finally, where can my audience follow the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame on social media, website, and the best way of contacting the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, so find our website at baseballhalloffame.ca. We are on Facebook, Instagram, X, not Twitter anymore, Blue Sky, and we do have a YouTube. We're not super active on there, but our Canadian Women in Baseball panel is on there, so you can check that out.
Hey, Lindsay, I want to apologize for keeping you an extra 4 minutes, but I want to say thank you so much for coming on. And I would definitely like to have you come back on again for a part 2. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in St. Mary's, Ontario, baseballhalloffame.ca. Just want to say continued success with the Baseball Hall of Fame, and good luck to your Blue Jays. And maybe one day the Tigers and Blue Jays will be back in the same division again, and that's for another day as well.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Lindsay. And say hi to Scott for me and Kevin, and we'll see you guys real soon.
Sounds good. Take care.
You too. All right, guys, that concludes season 10, episode 22, overall 517 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Before we wrap up this show, guys, I'm going to show you a little clip of the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame where I was at last summer. And this is courtesy of my YouTube channel, Chris Palme, Live with CDP Sports Talk. It's Chris Palme here at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in St. Mary's, Ontario. I'm just going to show you a little bit about the exhibits here in St. Mary's, Ontario. If you've never been to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, check out their website, baseballhalloffame.ca. I'm just going to show you some of their artifacts that they have here. This is from Andre Dawson, bat and ball and glove from 1981. And then item number 5 is a team sign ball from the Montreal Expos 2004. The last year they were in Montreal. And as you can see, there's a Gary Carter autographed glove for winning Best Defensive Catcher. And there's a nice picture of John McHale, Jim Fanning, and Bill Stoneman in 1972. And this yellow seat here is from Olympic Stadium in the 1980s, I believe. It's where Willie Stargell of the Pittsburgh Pirates hit the longest home run in Olympic Stadium history. So that's just amazing. And then right here we have a team signed ball from the Toronto Blue Jays in 1977, their first year in Major League Baseball. And then we have a glove worn by Pat Hankin in 1996. And we have a couple of bats here, the 1985 Blue Jays bat signed by the entire team, and 1993 All-Star bat signed by John Olerud, who's just in the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame recently. And then we have a couple of Blue Jay World Series rings from 92 and 93 here, along with Carlos Delgado's shoes from 2000 as well. And before we wrap this up, we have a seat from Old Exhibition Stadium, the grandstand part of C&E Stadium, the home of the Jays from 77 to 89. It was demolished in February 1999, and this seat looks like it was saved just before the demolition of the stadium. So this seat is, I would say, would date back to the late 70s, early 80s when they played at the C&E Stadium. And then they have a turnstile here. This turnstile is from the 1960s Old Maple Leaf Stadium. That was near the Tip Top Tailor store in Toronto, near Hanlon's Point, when the Maple Leafs AAA team played in Toronto. Long before the Blue Jays were born, they had a AAA team that played in an international league called the Toronto Maple Leafs. So this is just a little bit of history here at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in St. Mary's, Ontario at 386 Church Street South, and Scott Crawford is their Director of Operations as well. I would highly recommend coming out here. Admission to get into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame is $11 per person, and the money goes towards the Hall of Fame. And before we wrap this up, we got a photo from Pete Rose. He actually did play one game in Toronto at Exhibition Stadium, a 1984 Pearson Cup game against the Blue Jays. The Jays and Expos played once a year in an exhibition game, rotating at Olympic Stadium and Exhibition Stadium. And this photo was taken in 1984 and signed by Pete Rose, who's the old-time hit king at 4,258 hits. He should be in Cooperstown at some point as well. And it's just and there's some jerseys here from this year's ceremony. Jimmy Key is a member of the class of 2024 as well. So just amazing. Like I said, it's not as big as Cooperstown, but the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in St. Mary's is growing every year, and I would highly recommend coming out here if you're a baseball fan or a historian and I would check out the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. Again, it's 386 Church Street here in St. Mary's, Ontario. And you can check out their website at baseballhalloffame.ca. All right, guys, thanks for checking out my video. Hey, that clip was courtesy of my YouTube channel, Chris Palme Live with CDP Sports Talk. Please hit the subscribe and like notification. And now I want to say thank you to my guest today, Lindsay Earle. She's the Care of Collections and Public Engagement Supervisor at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, for coming on here as well. And please check out their website, baseballhalloffame.ca, and you can visit them at 386 Church Street South in St. Mary's, Ontario. Telephone number 519-284-1838. So if you have some baseball memorabilia, I can say it, or artifacts, and you're interested in possibly donating to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, please contact them through the phone number or the website as well. And baseball has such a long history, especially here in the country of Canada as well. So thank you again to Lindsay Earle for coming on. And I'm looking forward to seeing her and Scott Crawford and Kevin Glue and the crew this summer coming up at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, and especially for their class of 2025, which takes place on Saturday, June 7th at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in beautiful St. Mary's, Ontario, which is about 35-40 minutes from Guelph, and probably about, I don't know, half an hour from London, Ontario. So it's in the middle of southwestern Ontario, and it's a beautiful little community there as well. And before we wrap up our show, guys, as always, I got an announcement to make. The next Small Talk podcast, season 3, episode 3, Monday, March 31st at 3 p.m. with special guest Selena Ella Moon. She is the founder of a Solopreneur Institute, also along with my co-host Marlene Sharp and myself. So the Small Talk podcast, a monthly entertainment show with Marlene Sharp and myself, returns for season 3, episode 3, this Monday, March 31st at 3 p.m. Eastern with Selena Ella Moon. Please check this out as well. And before we wrap up the show, guys, Truck Month at Barry Cullen Chevrolet, a 2025 Silverado LD Custom Trail Boss, Custom Blackout Edition, Custom Trail Boss. You can lease from $199 bi-weekly, that's like $99 weekly, at 3.9% financing for 24 months with $5,190 down payment on an ultra low kilometer lease. View offer details at barrycullen.com or pop by Barry Cullen Chevrolet at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Tell them Chris Palme sent you there as well. And Barry Cullen Chevrolet has been family run and operated here in Guelph since 1969. Also, guys, I'm on Cameo. If you like a personalized video from yours truly, CDP, check out cameo.com, type in Chris Palme, and book your Cameo today. I'd be happy to give you a shout out, a pep talk, birthday greetings, or if you want to ask me questions about my talk show and my media work, I'd be happy to hear from you on cameo.com/Chris Palme. Also, guys, I've joined another social media site, and this is probably going to be the last one. I'm now on Blue Sky Social. Blue Sky Social is sort of like what X used to be when it was known as Twitter, at Live with CDP 19 on Blue Sky Social. Live with CDP 19 at Blue Sky Social, and please make sure you follow me there as well. And finally, as we wrap up the show, guys, if you're looking to adopt a pet, check out the Cambridge and District Humane Society, 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit their website at cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the animals up for adoption, their profiles are on their website. And if you're looking to volunteer like I do twice a week as a dog walker, you can fill out a volunteer form through their website. And they're also doing a 50-50 draw, I think every 3 months, and I think the next one is March 31st. You can buy tickets, go on to cambridgehumanesociety.org and click on events, and you can purchase your ticket there as well. And the Cambridge District Humane Society right now is looking for cat litter, cat treats, dog treats, and also they do a once a week pet emergency fund. in Cambridge, Ontario, for those people who are struggling economically right now. So if you have cat food or dog food and you're able to donate it to the Cambridge Humane Society, they do this every Wednesday. Please pop by the shelter at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, right across from the Cambridge Mall, or please give them a call at 519-623-7722 extension 0 and tell them that you'd like to make a food or a food donation or a cash donation to the emergency pet fund, which they do in Cambridge, and they do wonderful work looking after our furry friends who are in need of a forever family and home as well. So please consider helping out the Cambridge and District Humane Society in Cambridge, Ontario. As we wrap up this show, guys, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. And fingers crossed, StreamYard eventually, I hope, will partner up with TikTok as well. So fingers crossed on that as well. And please remember to follow and subscribe to me on all of these platforms. You can also check out my website at beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. I am also back on TikTok, guys. Yes, about 6 weeks ago, I lost my original TikTok page of 5 years. Unfortunately, I lost all my 2,800 followers and content. So if you're wondering what happened to me on TikTok, I have a new account, new page at Chris Palme, and please hit follow. I'm at 503 subscribers, and I'm hoping to get back to 1,000 so I can go live again. Last time I had 2,800 followers, so now I'm just hoping to get back to 1,000 and do some more TikTok lives as well. So check me out on TikTok at Chris Palme. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. They have basic free plans. They have plans for professionals like I do. And if you're a business that does a lot of webinars or a lot of live streaming stuff, StreamYard.com, and then click on the sales department for business pricing as well. And I've been with StreamYard for over 4 years now. I highly recommend it. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the audio versions on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. And please remember to hit subscribe and follow me there as well. You can also email Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show at cpalme19@gmail.com. Any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback, good or bad, let me know there as well. And also, if you'd like to tip me for my talk show and my media work and all the content I do, I am on PayPal. You can reach me on PayPal at cpalme19@gmail.com if you wish to tip and contribute to my talk show and my media work, which I really love doing and performing in front of you guys as well. And finally, you guys can follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, X, Threads, Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky, wherever social media is. That's where CDP is as well. And before we wrap up this show, guys, the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans are back in action Saturday night. Saturday, March 29th at 7 o'clock against the London Lightning at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. This is their last regular season game before the playoffs start, and the Titans are trying to break their 2-game losing streak. If you want to go down to a game, you can get tickets at kwtitans.com. That's kwtitans.com, or you can go down to the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium box office and get your tickets there. So please consider going out and supporting local pro basketball, the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans of the Super Basketball League, who are owned by David and Kate Schooley of the Kitchener-Cambridge area. They do a great job down there as well. And that's about it, guys. Again, I want to say thank you to Lindsay Earle from the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, their care of collections and public engagement supervisor, for coming on here today. And please consider going down to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, 386 Church Street South in St. Mary's, Ontario. The website is baseballhalloffame.ca, and looking forward to being a part of that 2025 class as media, covering Jose Batista and a wonderful bunch of other candidates going into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in St. Mary's, Ontario. And that's about it. I hope everybody has a great afternoon and enjoy the National Hockey League. Enjoy Major League Baseball. And Minor League Baseball is back right now. So after I'm done this show, I'll be turning into Pat Malacaro and Duke McGuire on the Buffalo Bison's live stream network, and watching them take on the Rochester Red Wings today. And also, speaking of Buffalo, besides the Bisons being back in action at Salem Field this weekend, the Buffalo Bandits, the back-to-back National Lacrosse League World Champs, are back home on Saturday, March 29th, 7:30, when they take on the Vancouver Warriors at the KeyBank Center. The game is already sold out. 19,070 seats have already been sold out. So the only way you want to go to this, or the only way you're going to be able to watch this game, is to watch it on the CW23 network in Buffalo, the 1520 Bet on the radio with John Gerkler, Steve Bermel, and Dave Buchanan, or you can get it through NLL Plus on their website. Just give them your email address, create a password, and you can watch the action on live stream as well as TSM Plus. So that's about it, guys. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the weekend, enjoys sports, and please check out the Small Talk podcast, Season 3, Episode 3, this Monday, March 31st at 3 p.m. with Selena Ella Moon, along with Marlene Sharp, my co-host, and myself. And Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show will return next week for not one, not two, but 3 new episodes with 3 more guests. And if you're I'm going to reword this again. If you're an individual that has a unique story and you would like to share it on Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show or the Small Talk Podcast, please email me at cpome19@gmail.com or DM me through my social media pages. I'd love to hear from you as well. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this live stream and on my audio platforms, and to Barry Cullen Chevrolet here in Guelph. Have a great afternoon, great weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday at 3 for the Small Talk Podcast.